You're tired, not just physically, but mentally exhausted from always trying to keep up, prove yourself, and stay in control. The harder you push, the emptier it feels. Deep down, you know something's off. This isn't how life's supposed to feel. What if real power begins the moment you stop forcing and start flowing? This audiobook will shatter everything you thought you knew about success, control, and peace. Before we begin, take a moment to slow down. And if you're someone who values depth over noise, tap like. It helps YouTube send you more of what actually grows your mind. Introduction. You've been taught a lie since the moment you took your first breath. Not by your parents, not by a religion, but by a silent rule that runs the modern world. Work harder, push more, fight reality until it bends. You were told effort is sacred, that pressure creates diamonds, that peace must be earned. But what if the opposite is true? What if the harder you try, the further life moves away? You've been pushing on a door that only opens inward. This is the law of reversal, the hidden law that turns struggle into flow, force into magnetism. The universe doesn't reward effort. It mirrors your state of being. Every thought, every emotion, every vibration you carry becomes a signal, and the field around you organizes itself to match it. When your inner energy says, "I must work harder," the universe simply answers, "Then work harder." You were raised in the cult of effort. Grind more, hustle harder, no pain, no gain. It sounds noble. It feels productive. But look around. The most exhausted people are rarely the most fulfilled. Struggle isn't strength. It's resistance disguised as ambition. The truth is simple. You were never meant to fight with life. You were meant to flow with it. Like a river, the same force that drowns you when resisted becomes the current that carries you when released. This isn't passivity. It's precision. This is Wu Wei, effortless action. The state where intention and ease move as one. Centuries of programming taught you to glorify struggle. Religions sanctified sacrifice. Factories rewarded exhaustion, and society made stress a status symbol. You learned to confuse adrenaline with purpose, and anxiety with achievement. But a clenched mind cannot receive new instruction from the intelligence that moves all things. So pause. Breathe. Step out of the trance of pushing. Your power doesn't come from trying harder. It comes from remembering who you are. You are not a beggar asking the universe for mercy. You are the universe, remembering itself. The law of reversal begins when you let go, when you stop forcing the door and realize it was never locked. The struggle is not sacred. Your peace is. And from that peace, creation becomes effortless. Chapter 1. The cult of effort from childhood. You were told that nothing worth having comes without sacrifice, that success demands pain, that progress is born from exhaustion. No pain, no gain. If at first you don't succeed, try again. These phrases are so ingrained, they sound like truth, yet they are only the echo of an ancient hypnosis, the worship of effort. You inherited this belief as if it were gravity, invisible, constant, unquestioned. But gravity holds the world together. This belief holds you down. Humanity has been trained to glorify struggle, to measure worth by suffering. We think the more we fight, the more we deserve. And yet, the universe does not keep score of how hard you try. It responds only to your vibration, to what you are. Look around. Millions work endlessly, pushing themselves to exhaustion, chasing outcomes that never feel complete. If effort alone were the key, the hardest workers would live in peace. They do not. Because effort, when rooted in fear, emits the frequency of resistance. The harder you push, the more life mirrors back that same struggle. To understand how we became trapped, we must trace the origin of this cult, the genealogy of struggle. The first roots were theological. Early interpretations of existence taught that life was punishment for a fall from grace. Labor was payment for sin. By the sweat of your brow, you shall eat your bread. This doctrine made effort a virtue, suffering a currency to buy redemption. Creation itself, meant to be joyous, was distorted into a lifelong penance. Then came the Industrial Revolution. Humanity was reprogrammed into machines. The worth of a soul was measured in hours, output, productivity. Time is money became gospel. The sacred rhythm of life was replaced by the rhythm of gears. The factory replaced the forest. The worker replaced the artist. A new theology was born, the church of efficiency, and effort became its prayer. Finally, the distortion deepened through Darwin's misinterpretation. Survival of the fittest was never meant to glorify aggression. It described adaptation. Yet society twisted it into a battle hymn, life as competition, existence as a jungle. The ego found justification to conquer, dominate, and chase endlessly. These three currents, religious guilt, industrial obsession, and scientific distortion, merged into one river of belief. Life is a fight, and the fighter is holy. The chemistry of addiction. The addiction to effort is not just psychological, it is biochemical. When you push through resistance and briefly succeed, your brain rewards you with dopamine, the triumph drug. You feel powerful for a moment. Then the pleasure fades, and you crave another hit. You create more battles just to feel alive again. Cortisol and adrenaline keep you wired, alert, and restless. This constant low-grade stress becomes your baseline. You call it productivity, but your body calls it survival. Your nervous system cannot tell the difference between fighting for a dream and fighting for your life. And so, peace feels foreign. Silence feels threatening. What you think is ambition may simply be withdrawal. The drama of effort keeps you from facing the quiet truth. Creation does not need force. It needs alignment. The mediocrity of effort. Here lies the irony. The cult of effort produces not greatness, but mediocrity. When your energy is drained by constant striving, there is no space for inspiration. True creativity is born in calm. The greatest ideas come not when you force your mind, but when you release it. In neuroscience, the analytical mind operates in beta waves, fast, sharp, survival-oriented. In this state, you can solve linear problems, but you cannot create. Genius, intuition, and quantum leaps arise in alpha and theta waves, states reached only through relaxation, meditation, and joy. You can grind your way through 10 steps of logic, or you can align with one flash of insight that bends all 10 into one elegant motion. Effort cannot access that flash. Surrender can. When you are rowing furiously against the current, your head is down. You see nothing but the next stroke. But if you looked up, you might notice a side current that carries you to your destination with 1/10 of the energy. Effort narrows perception. Ease expands it. The vibration of struggle. The universe mirrors frequency, not intention. When your inner state declares, "This is hard," life says, "As you wish." When you operate from tension, your vibration commands reality to match that tone. Every struggle becomes proof of your belief that life must be hard. You emit the signal of scarcity, and scarcity obeys. You send the vibration of resistance, and resistance multiplies. The law of resonance is mercilessly precise. It never reflects what you say you want. It reflects what you are being while you say it. To live under the cult of effort is to keep whispering to the universe, I am incomplete. The effort fast. How, then, do you begin to break the addiction? Not by doing more, but by doing less, consciously. The first initiation is the effort fast. Choose one area of your life where you are pushing hardest, yet gaining least. Perhaps your career, your relationship, your health. For 7 days, make a vow to stop forcing. Continue your responsibilities, but drop the energy of struggle. Do your work with excellence, then stop when the work is done. If conflict arises, speak truth without trying to control the outcome. Your mind will panic. It will whisper, you are lazy. Everything will fall apart. That is withdrawal. You are detoxing from the drug of tension. Observe the panic without reacting. Let silence replace strain. Watch what happens when you stop pushing. The current begins to move on its own. The hunt for ease. During this fast, train your attention to notice moments of flow. Every day, record 3 small examples of grace. A call that arrived at the perfect time. A problem that solved itself. A smile from a stranger that lifted your mood. At first, your brain, conditioned for difficulty, will resist. But with practice, it rewires. You begin to expect ease, and by expecting it, you magnetize it. This is not delusion. It is neuroplasticity. What you repeatedly focus on becomes your brain's filter for reality. The art of receiving. Finally, practice the simplest and hardest skill of all, receiving. When someone offers help, say, "Thank you, I accept." When someone praises you, meet their eyes and let the compliment land. When life gives you small gifts, stop dismissing them as coincidence. Whisper inwardly, I receive. Each act of receiving heals the ancient wound of unworthiness. You teach your subconscious that good can come without suffering, that ease does not equal weakness. You begin to embody the truth. Worthiness is not earned. It is remembered. You were not designed to worship exhaustion. You were designed to co-create with grace. The cult of effort has kept you rowing in circles, mistaking motion for progress. It is time to drop the oars and let the river show you its intelligence. What begins as surrender ends as mastery. What looks like stillness is actually alignment with infinite motion. You will soon learn that the universe does not demand your strength. It only echoes your state. When you stop fighting the current fights for you. Chapter 2. The Physics of Resistance. The universe is not a battlefield. It is a mirror. This mirror does not judge. It does not reward effort, nor punish ease. It reflects, with mathematical precision, the frequency of your dominant state of being. Every thought, every emotion, every subtle vibration within you projects a signature into the quantum field. And the field, bound by its own immutable law of resonance, must organize matter and circumstance to match that signal. You have been taught that life responds to your actions. The truth is deeper. Life responds to your assumptions. It obeys not the mind that commands, but the consciousness that radiates. The universe does not deliver what you want. It reflects what you are. The trap of wanting to understand resistance. Analyze the anatomy of desire. When you say, I want, what is the hidden message beneath those words? I want is the language of lack. It proclaims absence. It declares that what you seek is not here. Each time you obsess over a goal, the underlying frequency you broadcast is, I don't have it yet. And so the mirror of life, faithful and neutral, reflects back more experiences of not having. The harder you want, the further away it seems to move, like a shadow that flees your grasp the moment you chase it. You may affirm abundance with your words, but if your inner tone sings scarcity, the universe dances to the deeper melody. Wanting is magnetic repulsion, disguised as desire, the energy of trying. Trying is another mask of fear. When you say, "I'll try," you are declaring that success is uncertain, that failure is an option you secretly believe in. To the conscious mind, trying sounds noble. To the subconscious, it sounds like doubt. The subconscious, your creative engine, does not respond to logic. It responds to command. It hears not, "I will try to succeed," but "this is difficult, and I may not succeed." And because your inner reality must remain coherent, it arranges your actions and perceptions to confirm that belief. Trying creates an invisible counterforce. The more you push, the more the universe resists, not as punishment, but as equilibrium. For every action born of need, there is an equal and opposite reaction of resistance, the law of equal reaction. Newton's third law says that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. The same law exists within consciousness. When you push reality with the heavy hand of effort, reality must push back with equal resistance. The pressure you feel is not the world denying you. It is the echo of your own force. Imagine standing before a door that opens inward. In your desperation, you shove with all your might. The harder you push, the more resistance you feel. The problem isn't the door, it's the direction of your effort. Creation works the same way. The moment you shift from force to allowance, from make it happen to let it unfold, the door swings open effortlessly. The paradox of attention. What you focus on expands. This is not poetic metaphor. It is neurobiological fact and metaphysical law. Your reticular activation system filters billions of bits of data every second and highlights only what matches your dominant belief. If your mind is fixated on debt, every sign, every bill, every conversation reinforces scarcity. If your attention clings to loneliness, your brain will filter reality to prove you are alone. You literally build your prison cell with the bricks of your focus. Energy flows where attention goes. Focus on the wound, and you keep it raw. Focus on wholeness, and healing begins. The transmutation of wanting into being. The alchemist does not fight desire. He transforms it. He understands that desire is sacred energy, distorted only when misdirected. The goal is not to stop wanting, but to shift the direction of attention, from absence to presence, from longing to embodiment. Ask yourself the question that dissolves all resistance. How would I feel now if this were already true? Close your eyes and answer with your body, not your intellect. If your wish were fulfilled, how would your breath move? How relaxed would your shoulders feel? What quiet certainty would rest behind your eyes? This is not fantasy, it is reprogramming. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, your nervous system reorganizes. The subconscious cannot tell the difference between a vividly felt inner state and an external event. It records both as fact, and because it must maintain coherence with what it believes is true, it begins aligning your behavior, intuition, and opportunities to mirror that state. The dissolution of trying into inspired action. Once you have assumed your new state, do not rush to act. The anxious impulse to do something is the ego trying to regain control. Instead, enter the silence of trust. Wait for the gentle impulse that feels light, obvious, effortless. That is inspired action. Forced action feels like rowing against the current, heavy, exhausting, uncertain. Inspired action feels like being carried, energized, synchronized, clear. It arises naturally when your vibration matches the outcome you desire. You don't create the wave, you ride it. The art of non-resistance. When an obstacle appears, your instinct is to fight. You tense, resist, curse the delay. But the initiate knows, resistance to resistance multiplies resistance. Instead, practice active acceptance. When life contradicts your vision, pause and bless the circumstance. Whisper inwardly, "This too serves me." Bless the bill as proof that abundance circulates. Bless the delay as evidence of divine timing. The energy you bless transforms. The energy you resist persists. Every wall dissolves the moment you stop pushing it. The mirror revealed. The mirror of life has no opinions. It only reflects. It does not care whether you dream of success or fear failure. It multiplies what you energize. When you radiate confidence, it echoes with opportunity. When you broadcast scarcity, it echoes with lack. To master manifestation is not to manipulate the mirror, but to master the reflection you project into it. Your task, then, is simple but profound. Withdraw your energy from the struggle. Assume the state of completion. Act only from inner alignment. Trust that what you are is already echoing through the field, arranging the precise chain of synchronicities that will deliver it to your door. When you stop forcing, the universe stops resisting. When you stop wanting, what you wanted appears. When you stop trying, doing happens through you. This is the physics of consciousness. Resistance exists only as the shadow of your own effort. The less you fight, the stronger the current that carries you. Chapter 3. The fraud of asking you have been told to ask. Ask the universe for what you want. Ask and it shall be given. But what if this act, so innocent, so sacred in appearance, is the very thing that keeps you separated from what you seek? Because every time you ask, you confirm a hidden belief. I don't have it. And the universe, which is not a parent handing out favors, but a mirror of vibration, must echo back that truth of lack. You are not denied because you are unworthy. You are denied because your frequency declares denial. The law of reversal exposes this paradox. The more you ask, the more you affirm distance. The energy of asking is the energy of emptiness. You are telling life, it is outside of me, and so it remains outside. The 3 lies of supplication. 1. The lie of separation. The first illusion is that there is you, and there is the universe, that you are the beggar, and the universe is the giver. This duality fractures the original unity of being. In truth, there is no out there. You are not in the universe. You are the universe expressing itself through one perspective. Your thoughts are not radio signals sent to a distant God. They are the ripples of the ocean speaking to itself. Asking the universe for something is like your right hand begging your left for food. It forgets they belong to the same body. When you drop the illusion of separation, you stop asking and start commanding from within. 2. The lie of unworthiness. The second lie whispers that you must earn what you desire, that blessings are rewards for good behavior, granted only after enough effort, sacrifice, or spiritual purity. But creation is not a transaction, it is inheritance. A prince does not beg for his crown, he simply wears it. You are consciousness individualized, an extension of infinite intelligence. To ask for abundance is to forget that abundance is your nature. Unworthiness is the most ancient hypnosis of the human mind. It disguises itself as humility, but is rooted in fear. Every please that trembles from lack tells your subconscious that you are powerless. To receive effortlessly, you must reclaim the authority of being. You are not waiting for divine permission. You are divine permission. 3. The lie of future fulfillment. The third lie is subtle, yet deadly. The idea that your good lies somewhere ahead, that when you become better, richer, more enlightened, then you will have what you want. But creation cannot occur in the future. The subconscious, the engine of reality, knows only the now. When you project fulfillment forward, you condemn yourself to an endless horizon that never arrives. You become an expert at waiting. The beggar asks, the king decrees. The beggar lives in time. The king lives in eternity. From beggar to king transformation begins with identity. Close your eyes and imagine two postures. The beggar, shoulders collapsed, energy contracted, voice trembling with, please. The king, back straight, breathing deep, eyes serene, voice calm and certain. Which one creates reality? You become what you assume. Sit inwardly on your throne. Feel the stability of sovereignty in your spine. You are not commanding from ego, but from divine remembrance. You are not demanding of others. You are declaring truth into the mirror of creation. When you speak, speak from completion, not need. Say not, I hope I find peace, but I am peace embodied now. Not, I wish for success, but success flows through me effortlessly. Decree as one who already possesses. The art of the sovereign decree. A decree is not a wish. It is not begging the unseen to move. It is instructing energy to align. Form your decree in 3 parts. Invocation of power. Begin by aligning with your higher self. By the power of my divine consciousness. Or simply, from the truth of who I am. Declaration in the present. State your desire as already done. I decree radiant health as my living reality now. Use I am, the creative key. The universe takes those 2 words as law. Seal with gratitude. Gratitude is the royal signature. It says, it is done. Thank you, because it is already fulfilled. This gratitude is not polite manners. It is vibrational closure. It completes the circuit between thought and manifestation. Gratitude, the seal of power. Why does gratitude work? Because gratitude is the emotion of having. It cannot coexist with lack. When you feel grateful before the evidence appears, you create coherence between your inner state and your desired reality. Neuroscience reveals that gratitude shifts your brain into elevated alpha and gamma frequencies, producing harmony between heart and mind. This electromagnetic coherence literally changes your body's signal to the quantum field. Gratitude is not spiritual fluff. It is the frequency of receivership. You say thank you, not to convince the universe, but to confirm to your subconscious that the command has been received and executed. The practice. Every morning, choose one aspect of your life that feels distant. Health, wealth, love. Instead of asking, decree. Speak the sentence aloud with calm authority. By the intelligence of life that breathes through me, I decree harmony in this area now. Thank you, for it is already done. Then, stop watching for proof. Walk through your day as the person for whom it is already true. The world will rearrange itself to confirm your new identity. The end of begging. You were never meant to kneel before creation. You were meant to stand within it. The universe is not withholding. It is waiting for coherence. As long as you ask, you confess separation. When you decree, you restore unity. Every time you catch yourself whispering, please let this happen, pause, straighten your spine, breathe deeply, and instead Whisper, I allow this now. You are not appealing to power. You are the power. When you remember this, asking becomes obsolete. The hands that once begged now open in gratitude, and everything that once felt distant rushes home to meet you. You are the command, the current, and the completion. The fraud of asking ends the moment you realize you were never asking anyone but yourself. Chapter 4. The Fertile Void, the Power of Surrender. There is a sacred space between effort and manifestation, a space most people fear, the void. They mistake it for absence, for nothingness, for loss of control. Yet the void is not empty. It is pregnant with infinite potential. It is the womb of the universe, the silence from which all sound emerges, the invisible pause between your intention and its arrival. Those who fear the void cling to control. They fill every moment with activity, noise, planning, and anxiety, unable to sit in stillness. But control is a symptom of mistrust. The more you grip, the less life can flow through your hands. The more you plan, the less you can hear the whisper of guidance. To master effortless creation, you must reclaim your relationship with the void. You must learn to dwell inside stillness, not as a prisoner of waiting, but as a conscious creator, holding open the space for miracles. The paradox of the void. Western thought worships fullness, full schedules, full shelves, full calendars. We measure worth by how much we can hold. Yet the power of creation is hidden in the opposite principle, emptiness. The Taoist sages taught that a cup is only useful because of its empty space. A wheel turns because of the emptiness at its hub. The usefulness of a room lies not in its walls, but in the space they contain. The void is what makes form possible. Quantum physics agrees. Every atom, every solid object, is 99.99999% space, vibrating energy within an ocean of nothingness. This apparent emptiness is where probability becomes reality. What looks like nothing is actually the creative field of everything. When you rest in that space, when you release the frantic motion of effort, you align with the intelligence that orchestrates galaxies without strain. You stop trying to play God and instead become the space through which God plays. Wu Wei, effortless action. The Taoists called this state Wu Wei, often translated as non-doing. But the term does not mean idleness. It means action without resistance. It is the art of movement in harmony with the current of life. Imagine two men crossing a river. The first rows furiously against the current, sweating and shouting, convinced that his effort proves his strength. The second lies calmly on his raft, adjusting his direction with a gentle hand, letting the current carry him. Which one reaches the opposite shore first? Wu Wei is not passivity. It is intelligence. It is the understanding that the river's strength is greater than your own. The one who surrenders to it does not lose control. He becomes guided by a force infinitely wiser than the mind. The science of surrender. When you surrender, you deactivate the body's survival circuitry. The nervous system shifts from sympathetic dominance, fight, flight, and strain, into parasympathetic coherence, recovery, receptivity, regeneration. In this state, the prefrontal cortex, the seat of higher creativity, awakens. Alpha and theta waves synchronize the heart and brain, opening the channel of intuition. What feels like divine guidance is simply your physiology returning to harmony with the quantum field. Surrender is not weakness. It is alignment with the operating system of the universe. The cosmos does not conquer. It unfolds. The practice of creating the void. You cannot think your way to surrender. You must create the conditions in which surrender happens naturally. Begin with silence. Each day, dedicate at least 15 minutes to stillness. Sit with a straight spine. Close your eyes. Let go of the need to do, fix, or plan. When thoughts arise, do not chase them. Let them drift away like clouds across an open sky. Your only task is to stay open. At first, your mind will rebel. It will call you lazy. It will crave movement. Smile at it. Watch it. Breathe through it. Beneath the noise, you will feel a subtle spaciousness, an inner quiet that has no edges. That is the void. That is the field from which creation emerges. Do not fill it with affirmations or mental chatter. Simply be the space. You are training your nervous system to relax into the unknown, the art of the open hand. Once you have declared your intention or decree, practice the open hand. Imagine holding your desire in your palm. If you clench your fist around it, it cannot breathe. If you open your hand, the wind of the universe can carry it exactly where it belongs. This is the energy of detachment, not apathy, but trust. You release control over the how and the when. You keep only the what, your vision, and the who, the version of yourself who already has it. To seal this state, whisper inwardly, "Universe, I allow this or something better, for the highest good of all." This phrase frees reality to choose the most graceful path, one your limited mind could not design. Listening in the void. The void is not silent. It hums with guidance. When you are no longer shouting commands into the universe, you can finally hear its reply. The answer often comes as a soft impulse, a sudden knowing, a small tug in the body. This is intuition, the language of energy. Your role is not to invent inspiration, but to recognize it. When you follow that quiet nudge, life unfolds in synchrony. A phone call arrives, a message appears. The next step reveals itself naturally. You realize that manifestation is less like building and more like remembering. The compass of the body. To navigate the flow of Wu Wei, learn to trust the compass built into your own biology. Before acting, close your eyes and feel your body's response to the idea. Does it feel light, expansive, warm? That is the body saying yes. Does it feel heavy, contracted, tight? That is resistance, the ego trying to take back control. Your body is the instrument of truth. The mind is the noise that distorts it. When you honor your body's signals, you act at the speed of intuition. You move with the river, not against it. The power of surrender. In the fertile void, you stop being the worker and become the witness. You are no longer the sculptor forcing form from stone. You are the space in which the statue emerges by itself. When you stop grasping, the universe grasps you. When you stop demanding, life rushes in to fill the silence. This is the paradox. The more you release, the more power flows through you. True mastery is not the control of life. It is intimacy with its rhythm. And when you live in that rhythm, effort disappears, resistance dissolves, and miracles stop being exceptions. They become your new normal. The void is not the absence of creation. It is the birthplace of it. Enter it with trust, and you will find not darkness, but light waiting to take form through you. Chapter 5. Silent certainty. The state of being. Wanting is noise. Certainty is silence. When you cross from one into the other, creation begins to obey you. Every human being vibrates between these two states. One is outward, restless and hungry, the state of becoming. The other is inward, still and radiant, the state of being. The first begs life to respond. The second commands without words. Silent certainty is the language the universe cannot ignore. The quantum law of I am. In physics, an observer collapses a field of infinite probabilities into one manifested event. But observation is not merely seeing, it is being in a specific state while perceiving. The universe reflects not what you look at, but the one who is looking. When you say, "I want abundance," you are observing from lack. When you say, "I am abundance," your very consciousness becomes the magnet that reorganizes atoms, opportunities, and coincidences to match that truth. The words "I am" are not grammar. They are creation in motion. Every sentence that follows them is a decree etched into the quantum field. Your subconscious mind, the literal engine of manifestation, understands only the present tense. It takes everything you declare as fact right now. That is why affirmations spoken mechanically fail. The mind says the words, but the body vibrates in contradiction. The body is the instrument of the subconscious. When your emotions, breath, and sensations harmonize with the words "I am," you generate coherence, the exact frequency the universe mirrors back as physical experience. The feeling is the secret. You cannot think your way into a new life. You must feel your way there. Feeling is the electrical signature of your creation. Emotion is its magnetic field. Together, they shape the vibration that the quantum field reads as instruction. So the practice is not to repeat, "I am successful," but to ask, "How would success feel in my body right now?" Would your chest expand? Would your breath slow? Would your thoughts soften into calm confidence? When you reproduce the feeling first, reality must catch up. The universe does not deliver experiences to create emotion. It delivers experiences that match your emotion. If you wait to feel worthy until the evidence arrives, you postpone the evidence forever. Feel first, and evidence follows. The nightly ritual of assumption. Every night, before sleep, you stand at the gate between worlds. The conscious mind, your gatekeeper, grows drowsy and silent. The subconscious, the divine builder, awakens. This is the holy hour of creation. Choose one short scene that implies your wish is fulfilled. Not the moment of receiving the money, but perhaps a friend congratulating you. Remember when you used to worry about finances? Not the wedding itself, but the sensation of a ring's weight on your finger. Close your eyes. Relax your body until it feels weightless. Enter that scene as if it were happening now. Smell the air. Hear the voices. Most importantly, feel the naturalness of it. Do not force it. Repeat the scene gently, like a lullaby, until you fall asleep inside it. Your final conscious act imprints the subconscious blueprint that will express itself as reality. When you wake, do not look for signs. Behave as one who knows it is already done. The mental diet. The next morning, the world of your senses will test you. Old patterns will whisper, "See, nothing has changed." Your task is not to fight them, but to remain loyal to your new identity. Guard your inner dialogue. Speak only as the self you have assumed. When thoughts of doubt arise, smile inwardly and say, "That belonged to the old me." Return to the feeling of completion. This is not denial. It is discipline. You are teaching your nervous system to prefer truth over illusion. Imagine you planted a seed last night. Would you dig it up every morning to see if it's growing? No. You would water it with faith, sunlight, and patience. Your assumed state is that seed. Let it root in silence. The embodiment of identity. Being is a living frequency, not a performance. The goal is not to pretend to be abundant, peaceful, or loved. It is to embody those states so completely that pretending becomes impossible. Ask yourself throughout the day, How would the version of me who already has this walk, breathe, and speak? Then do that. When you act from identity instead of need, your energy field stabilizes. You stop oscillating between wanting and believing, between reaching and resting. Your signal to the field becomes pure, unwavering, unmistakable. This is why the masters appear magnetic. They do not chase, they radiate. Their certainty does not shout, it hums. The silence that commands. Silent certainty is not arrogance, it is alignment. It is the knowing that arises when thought and energy finally agree. When you reach that state, your words become unnecessary. The world begins to rearrange itself without announcement. People call at the perfect time. Doors open that logic never planned. You notice synchronicities appearing like invisible confirmations. Yes, this is who you are. This stillness is not passive. It is the hum of mastery. The ocean does not struggle to be vast. The sun does not try to shine. They simply are. And so must you, the return to wholeness. As long as you believe you must become, you postpone being. When you remember that you already are, becoming dissolves. Silent certainty is the birthplace of miracles, because it is free from noise. In that silence, creation flows unobstructed. Your task now is not to reach for what you want, but to rest as the one who already has it. Every breath, every glance, every heartbeat is a silent decree that says, I am already there. You will see how life begins to mirror that truth with almost playful precision. The phone rings. The opportunity appears. The right words flow from your mouth without planning. And one day, you realize the most profound secret of all. You never manifested anything new. You simply stopped contradicting what you always were. That is silent certainty. That is power without sound. That is being. Chapter 6. The Magnetism of Joy. There is a frequency higher than discipline, sharper than focus, and more powerful than intention. That frequency is joy, not the fleeting excitement of success, but the deep cellular joy that hums quietly underneath life itself. Joy is the signature vibration of the universe at play. Everything that grows, expands, and flourishes is sustained by this effortless current. When you align with joy, manifestation becomes involuntary. You no longer chase, you attract. You no longer calculate, you create. Joy is not the reward of your manifestations. It is the mechanism that births them. The forgotten power of joy. Most people distrust joy. They believe seriousness equals strength. They wear struggle like armor, afraid that happiness will make them weak or unprepared. But the truth is reversed. The serious mind is fragile. The joyful mind is invincible. Joy is not naive. It is the most intelligent emotion in existence. It signals alignment. It tells you, in this moment, your vibration matches your soul. When you feel joy, your nervous system harmonizes. The heart's electromagnetic field expands up to several feet beyond the body. Your intuition sharpens. The prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for insight, activates. Biochemically, joy releases serotonin, endorphins, and anandamide, substances that literally create coherence in your brain and heart. This coherence sends a signal of all is well into the quantum field. And the field, which reflects your dominant signal, brings experiences that match that frequency. Joy is not an effect of good fortune. It is the cause of it. The two faces of joy. There are two types of joy. Conditional joy, the brittle happiness that depends on circumstance. I'll be happy when I get the job, when they love me, when I have enough money. This joy is temporary and always fragile because it's rooted in outcome. Unconditional joy. The joy of being itself. It does not wait. It is not dependent. It is the quiet contentment that whispers, "I am alive, and that is enough." This joy precedes manifestation, and therefore commands it. Conditional joy reacts. Unconditional joy creates. When you learn to access joy before the reason, reality hurries to supply the reason. The frequency hierarchy. Emotions are vibrations. On the lowest end, shame, guilt, apathy. Above them, anger, courage, neutrality. Above that, love, peace, joy. Joy vibrates at the highest measurable frequency of human consciousness. It dissolves resistance faster than any affirmation. It heals without words. It attracts without effort. You could spend hours visualizing, scripting, or reciting affirmations. But 1 minute of genuine joy aligns you faster than any of them. Because joy is not intellectual, it is energetic. It doesn't convince the mind. It changes your field, reclaiming joy from seriousness. The world taught you to equate adulthood with heaviness. That to be responsible is to be solemn, and to be spiritual is to be somber. But the masters laugh easily. Saints smile often. Joy is not the opposite of depth. It is its fragrance. Joy is rebellion against fear. When you are joyful, you prove that the external world has no control over your state. You declare independence from circumstance. That declaration makes you magnetic because freedom is irresistible energy. So make joy your rebellion. Laugh without permission. Celebrate before evidence. Be unreasonably cheerful. This vibration confuses fear and dismantles control. The practice of joy. Microjoy, awareness. Each day, record 3 micro moments that bring a spark of pleasure. Sunlight on your skin, the smell of coffee, a stranger's smile. These tiny recognitions recalibrate your nervous system to notice beauty rather than absence. Joy. Journaling. Before sleep, write, "What made me feel light today?" You are teaching your subconscious that joy is normal, not rare. Anticipatory celebration. Begin every morning by celebrating your desires as if they already exist. Dance, stretch, or breathe as though your wish were fulfilled now. This sends a signal of completion into the field. Laughter is alchemy. When tension arises, laugh at its absurdity. Laughter transmutes energy faster than meditation. It converts contraction into flow. The joy pause. Several times a day, stop and ask, "Am I joyful right now?" If not, breathe deeply and choose one thing that reconnects you. A song, a memory, a smile. Joy is always one breath away. Joy as navigation. The mind plans. Joy navigates. If a decision feels heavy, forced, or dull, it is not aligned. If it feels light, curious, playful, it's a yes. Joy is the compass of the soul. When you honor it, you stop moving by logic and start moving by resonance. You begin to notice that everything meaningful in your life, every love, every success, every miracle, arrived not when you were serious, but when you were open, curious, laughing. The magnetism in action. When you act from joy, timing becomes perfect. People call at the right moment. Emails arrive with opportunities you didn't plan. You find yourself lucky. But luck is simply resonance meeting readiness. The magnetic field of joy bends probability in your favor. Because in joy, your energy says to the universe, "I already have everything I need." And the universe, always obedient, replies, "Then you must have more," returning to child consciousness. The child does not manifest. The child plays. And through play, reality bends around imagination. That is why joy is divine intelligence. It restores the natural state of wonder that adults bury under caution. When you reclaim play, you return to your original creative frequency. Effortless, curious, free. So dance without reason. Sing off-key. Create badly and proudly. The vibration of joy does not care about perfection. It cares about aliveness. The unbreakable law. Joy is not fragile. It does not depend on what happens. It decides what happens. It cannot be taken, only forgotten. Every time you choose joy over fear, you raise the frequency of your entire life. You teach the field to respond with grace. You anchor heaven into form. And one day, you realize the great secret. You didn't chase abundance. You laughed your way into it. You didn't beg for love. You became love dancing. You didn't force success. You followed joy, and joy led you home. That is magnetism. That is creation in motion. That is the power that moves galaxies, smiling through you. Chapter 7. The Art of Inspired Action. There are two kinds of movement in this world, one born of force and one born of flow. Force is the ego's rhythm, loud, urgent, fueled by fear of not enough. Flow is the universe's rhythm, quiet, effortless, guided by precision, far beyond intellect. Most people act because they are terrified of stillness. They move to silence doubt. They rush to prove worth. They grind, hustle, push, and collapse, mistaking exhaustion for progress. Yet the law of reversal whispers. True movement begins only after you stop forcing it. Forced action is inspired. Action. Forced action is the movement of the mind, trying to control the field. It says, if I don't do something now, nothing will happen. It's born from mistrust, from a vibration of lack. Every push sends a signal of, this is hard, and the universe echoes that difficulty right back. Inspired action, in contrast, is movement through you, not by you. It arises spontaneously, like a wave forming under your feet. It is not impulsive, but inevitable. A quiet, precise urge that feels both light and powerful. You can feel the difference instantly. Forced action drains you. Inspired action energizes you. Forced action demands effort. Inspired action feels like exhale. How inspiration speaks. Inspiration does not shout. It whispers. It speaks in the language of subtle impulses, intuitive nudges, sudden clarity. The voice of inspiration is calm, but certain. It doesn't argue. It simply knows. Sometimes it comes as a thought in the shower, an idea you can't shake, a phone call you suddenly feel compelled to make, or a creative spark that lights up your body. When it arrives, it carries a specific energetic signature, excitement without anxiety. It feels clean. You don't overthink. You simply recognize. Of course, this makes sense. This is the universe guiding you through resonance. The science of flow psychologists call this state flow, the zone where action and awareness merge, where time distorts and creativity peaks. In flow, your brain releases dopamine and norepinephrine, heightening focus and motivation while shutting down self-doubt. Spiritually, flow is divine choreography, the merging of your personal rhythm with the universal one. When you move in flow, the world seems to move with you. You stop fighting the current and start surfing it. The same intelligence that grows forests and balances planets begins to express through your hands, your voice, your timing. You realize that you are not the doer. You are the instrument, the body compass. Your body is the most accurate GPS for inspired action. Before you make a move, pause and feel. Does this choice feel light, open, expansive? That's a yes. Does it feel heavy, contracted, pressured? That's resistance. The body never lies. It reflects alignment instantly. When your stomach tightens or your chest feels heavy, it's not random. It's the nervous system signaling incoherence between desire and direction. When you feel lightness, it's your energy field saying, "This is aligned with who I am becoming." Learn to trust this language more than logic. Logic can only analyze the past. Intuition can see the future, the rhythm of timing. Inspired action has perfect timing. It may look like delay to the impatient mind, but it is synchronization to the wise. When you act prematurely, you swim against divine current. When you wait in stillness, the pieces rearrange themselves, people align, doors open, the path clears. Then one small movement creates disproportionate results. In ancient mysticism, this is called right action, the single move that shifts reality with minimal effort, because it occurs at the exact energetic window. Trust timing. The universe is never late, only patient, doing without effort. The paradox of inspired action is that it feels like rest. You are moving, yet relaxed, focused, yet free. The more you surrender to this rhythm, the more productive you become. Not because you do more, but because your actions are charged with coherence. 1 hour of aligned movement equals weeks of forced labor. Because the energy behind the act matters more than the act itself. The ancient texts say, "The sage does nothing, yet nothing remains undone." This is not laziness, it's mastery, from hustle to harmony. Let this be your new rule. Never act from desperation. Desperation contaminates creation. Act only when you feel grounded, peaceful, clear. If anxiety is present, pause, center yourself, breathe until your body relaxes. Then ask, what would love do now? That answer, the one that feels peaceful and alive, is always the right move. Replace the habit of hustling with the art of harmonizing. When you harmonize with the energy of the outcome, you no longer need to force the process. When no action is the action. Sometimes, inspired action means wait. The ego hates this because it equates waiting with weakness. But in truth, waiting in awareness is the highest form of participation. You are holding space for divine timing to weave. During such periods, your only job is inner maintenance. Keep your vibration stable, your heart open, your attention clear. Don't panic. Don't grasp. Stay in faith. The stillness between waves is not inactivity, it's preparation. The ocean gathers its next surge in silence, acting as the universe. When you finally move, do it with reverence, not as a human trying to impress the world, but as consciousness expressing through form. See your action as divine choreography, not personal struggle. Say inwardly before you begin any task, "Let this be the universe acting through me." This invocation rewires your energy. Your movements become charged with clarity and grace. People feel it. Doors open faster. Conversations flow smoother. Synchronicities multiply. Because now, the universe isn't helping you. It's being you. The effortless chain. When you start living this way, life becomes a chain of effortless impulses, each leading seamlessly to the next. The need for plans, deadlines, and rigid control dissolves. You start trusting the intelligence of rhythm. A single intuitive message leads to a conversation that leads to a door that leads to your next reality. You realize you were never creating from scratch. You were being guided all along. The final lesson. Stop asking, "What should I do?" Start asking, "What is moving through me right now?" The answer might be to write, rest, call someone, or simply breathe. Whatever arises from peace, not pressure, is sacred. When you live by this law, you discover that life itself is always acting, through you, for you, as you. You were never meant to push the river. You were meant to become its current. And when you do, action stops being a burden and becomes a prayer, motion guided by divinity. Chapter 8. The Alchemy of Failure. Failure is not punishment. It is communication. It is the universe's way of whispering, "Not this way. Try the other door." But in a world addicted to perfection, most people never learn to hear that whisper. They drown it out with shame, guilt, and self-attack. They treat failure as proof of unworthiness, instead of what it truly is: divine recalibration. To the untrained mind, failure feels like death. To the awakened one, it feels like refinement, the mirror of feedback. Every event you call failure is feedback from the field, showing you where your vibration, belief, or timing was misaligned. It's not rejection, it's correction. The mirror of reality reflects not to mock you, but to teach precision. When a plane deviates by 1 degree, it can end up hundreds of miles off course. The pilot doesn't curse the sky, he adjusts the angle. Do the same. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" ask, "What frequency in me produced this outcome?" This question turns failure into fuel. You shift from victim to scientist, from shame to mastery, pain as transmutation. Alchemists of old sought to turn lead into gold. Spiritually, that lead is suffering, disappointment, regret, heavy energy waiting to be transmuted. When pain arises, your first instinct is to suppress it. But suppression traps energy. Transmutation liberates it. To transmute pain, witness it. Sit with the emotion without labeling it bad. Breathe through it. Each breath is oxygen feeding the fire of transformation. Bless it. Whisper, "Thank you for showing me what needs healing." Release it through movement, art, or tears. Energy must move to evolve. Pain is raw material for expansion. When you allow it fully, it breaks open into wisdom, the myth of mistake. There are no mistakes, only unintegrated lessons. Everything you once regretted was a bridge to the consciousness you have now. If you removed every wrong turn, you'd erase the very wisdom that allows you to navigate today with clarity. From the higher view, every detour is design. Every collapse is correction. Every ending is initiation. You do not need to fix your past. You need to understand its architecture. Each so-called failure sculpted a deeper dimension of your being: compassion, humility, discernment. That is spiritual gold, the 3 gifts of failure. Redirection. When a door closes, it reroutes you toward your true timeline. You think you're being delayed. You're being aimed. Strengthening. Repeated falls build energetic resilience. Muscles tear to grow stronger. So does character. Clarification. Failure strips illusion. It shows you what actually matters and what was ego's vanity. It purifies desire. If success expands your reach, failure expands your depth. And only depth can hold real power. The biology of renewal. Even your cells understand failure. When a cell becomes damaged, it triggers autophagy, self-cleansing, to recycle waste into new energy. This biological alchemy mirrors the spiritual one. The old form must break so vitality can return. Likewise, in the brain, moments of setback stimulate neuroplasticity. The frustration you feel is literally your neurons rewiring for more efficient patterns. Failure isn't the opposite of progress. It's the mechanism of it, rewriting the narrative. Every time you replay a failure with guilt, you reinforce the frequency that created it. To rewrite it, shift your narration. Instead of I failed, say, I was recalibrated. Instead of I lost, say, I was redirected. Instead of I should have known, say, now I know. Language carries energy. The words you choose determine whether an experience becomes poison or medicine. The sacred pause. After collapse, the mind demands quick recovery. Fix it, rebuild, prove yourself. But alchemy requires incubation. Sit in the ashes until you feel gratitude stir. Gratitude is the signal that transformation is complete. It means you've extracted the gold from the lead. Only then move forward. Not from fear of repeating the past, but from the wisdom it gave you. The light behind the burn. Think of a candle. It must consume itself to give light. Failure is the flame that burns away false identities, revealing the unbreakable core beneath. Each loss removes a mask you no longer need. You will look back on every fall and see that it was never random. It was the exact friction needed to ignite self-knowledge. Integrating the lesson. To turn failure into power, perform this simple ritual. Write the event in one sentence. Write beneath it, what did this teach me about myself? List 3 strengths it gave you. Clarity, patience, trust, humility. Read the list aloud. Burn the paper safely. Say, this energy returns to light. This act signals completion. The frequency of shame releases. The frequency of wisdom anchors. The reversal. The law of reversal applies even here. What looks like falling is rising. When life pulls you backward, it's drawing the bowstring. The tension you feel is the force that will propel you forward. So bless your failures. They are sacred instruments of precision. Each one refines your vibration until only truth remains. In the end, failure was never against you. It was the universe sculpting you into coherence, polishing the mirror through which divine success will soon shine effortlessly. You are not the one who fell. You are the one who rose because of it. Chapter 9. The language of allowing. You have been taught to make things happen. Push harder, visualize longer, manifest stronger. But the universe is not a machine to be controlled. It is a symphony to be heard. And if you listen closely, you will realize reality does not respond to commands. It responds to coherence. The more you fight, the louder the static. The more you allow, the clearer the signal. The true language of creation is not effort. It is allowing. Projection versus reception. The mistaken creator projects energy outward, forcing images, demanding outcomes, shouting affirmations into the void. The master creator receives energy inward, tuning consciousness like a radio to the station of what already is. You are not a transmitter trying to create a signal. You are a receiver, learning to tune in to the signal already broadcasting your desire in the quantum field. Every possible version of your reality, the healed you, the abundant you, the fulfilled you, already exists. You do not build these timelines. You align with them. Allowing is alignment, the science of tuning. The quantum field responds not to words, but to vibration. When you visualize with tension or impatience, you emit the frequency of lack. The universe mirrors that vibration by giving you more waiting, more needing, more struggle. But when you visualize with ease, when you allow the image to rise gently from stillness, your brain synchronizes its electromagnetic waves with the desired frequency. This coherence sends a silent but powerful signal into the field. It is already done. The moment that vibration stabilizes, manifestation becomes inevitable. Affirmation as remembrance. An affirmation is not a spell to convince reality. It is a reminder of truth. I am abundance. I am love. I am peace. These are not wishes, they are recognitions. You are not creating abundance. You are remembering the frequency of abundance that already exists within you. When you say, "I am," say it not from hope, but from authority. Not like a beggar pleading for change, but like a king declaring law. The universe takes its cue from your state of being. Speak as if it already obeys you, because it does. Visualization. As receiving, you no longer need to imagine what you want. You allow the image to find you. Sit in silence. Relax the mind. Think not of what you desire, but of the feeling of its presence. Soon, a spontaneous image or scene will arise. Not something you constructed, but something you remembered. That is your reality seeking entry into form. You do not chase it. You open the door. When the image feels peaceful and real, stay with it until emotion and vision merge into one frequency. That is tuning. The role of emotion. Emotion is the magnetic ink that writes your command into the universe. You can think of it like a radio dial. The image is the frequency, and emotion is the fine-tuning. When you feel genuine love, gratitude, or joy, the static clears. The channel sharpens. The broadcast becomes audible in the fabric of reality. This is why joy, gratitude, and surrender manifest faster than willpower. They transmit with zero resistance, the power of the open hand. You cannot receive with a clenched fist. The same is true for consciousness. When you cling to a desire, obsess, worry, overfocus, you close the channel through which it must flow. The practice of allowing is the practice of the open hand. Want deeply, but gently. Intend clearly, but let go of the how. Believe fully, but trust the timing. Say inwardly, "Universe, I accept this or something better. In the perfect time, in the perfect way." This single phrase dissolves resistance. It tells the field, you are not desperate. You are aligned. Allowing versus waiting. Allowing is not waiting idly. It is active receptivity. You are not doing nothing. You are doing the most powerful thing possible, maintaining coherence. You live as though it is already true. You think, speak, and act from the end result. You no longer look for signs. You become the sign. The untrained mind waits for proof. The awakened mind becomes proof. The law of neutrality. When you truly allow, you reach neutrality, a serene state where having or not having feels equally complete. This neutrality is not apathy. It is confidence so profound that outcome no longer matters. And it is here that manifestation accelerates. Why? Because the moment your happiness no longer depends on receiving, you signal to the universe that you already have. And reality, being obedient, reflects that truth immediately. The daily practice. Morning silence, 5 minutes. Sit still and breathe. Whisper, "I allow life to move through me with ease." Midday. Tuning. When stress appears, close your eyes. Feel the desired emotion as if it already exists. Don't visualize, just feel. Evening gratitude. Before sleep, list what manifested effortlessly today, even small things. You are training your brain to expect flow. Over time, this practice rewires your nervous system from fight to trust. The paradox of allowing. When you stop chasing, life chases you. When you stop controlling, events fall perfectly into place. When you stop demanding proof, proof multiplies. This is the divine inversion. The universe was never withholding anything. It was simply waiting for you to stop resisting it. The greatest manifestation skill is not control. It is surrender with awareness. The moment you master this, your world becomes self-correcting. Synchronicity becomes normal. Ease becomes your default. You stop asking, when will it come? And start realizing, it's already here. Because in truth, it always was. The silent command. Every breath, every thought, every feeling is a conversation with the universe. If you speak through tension, the universe echoes tension. If you speak through ease, the universe replies in miracles. So learn the language of allowing. Speak softly. Trust deeply. Move gently. Let the divine intelligence that breathes stars guide your next inhale. You were never meant to conquer life. You were meant to cooperate with it. And when you do, everything you've ever desired, love, purpose, abundance, peace, flows to you not as a reward, but as recognition. You finally stopped shouting. And in the silence, the universe said, "Welcome home." Chapter 10. Living the inversion. There comes a moment on every seeker's path when practice dissolves into presence. You no longer try to surrender. You simply are surrendered. You no longer repeat affirmations. Your being itself has become the affirmation. This is the moment when the law of reversal ceases to be an idea you remember and becomes the air you breathe. Welcome to the art of living the inversion. The point where doing transforms into being, from student to embodiment. At the beginning of the journey, you practiced meditation, visualization, assumption, allowing. These were scaffolds, tools to reprogram the old identity. But all scaffolds are temporary. Once the building stands, they must fall away. You were never meant to spend your life repeating mantras or chasing techniques. You were meant to become the living expression of what those techniques pointed toward. Effortless alignment with universal intelligence. Now, your state of consciousness is the method. Your very presence becomes instruction. People feel peace around you, not because you speak of it, but because you radiate it. The three qualities of the inverted life. Unshakable peace. This peace is not the absence of storms, but the calm I within them. It arises when the war between ego and soul ends. You stop fighting the currents of life and begin floating with them, knowing that every event, even chaos, is coded with divine intelligence. This peace is not learned, it is remembered. It has always been there, beneath the noise of control, playful creation. To the serious mind, creation is duty. To the awakened one, it is play. When you no longer need success to validate you, you create purely for the joy of expression. You live as an artist of reality, curious, spontaneous, unafraid of mistakes. You laugh at delays. You dance with detours. You experiment with timelines the way a child plays with colors. What used to be manifestation, work, becomes divine play, magnetic grace. Grace is what the uninitiated call luck. It is the effortless alignment that makes life seem to move in your favor. Opportunities, people, and synchronicities appear without strain. You no longer chase, you attract by being. This is not magic, it's physics. When your vibration is coherent, the field organizes around it automatically. The dissolution of technique. In this stage, you no longer visualize intentionally. Your mind naturally perceives possibilities. You no longer speak affirmations. Your internal dialogue has become one long song of trust. You no longer practice gratitude. Your entire perception is gratitude. Faith is no longer effort, it's reflex. Your energy field stabilizes at a higher baseline frequency, and your outer world adjusts accordingly. You don't need to force manifestation because your reality is self-updating. Living the inversion means your subconscious and consciousness are no longer at war. The conscious mind sets an intention, and the subconscious executes it with ease, because they are now one system, one song, the body of light. As you embody peace, your physical body transforms too. You feel lighter, more radiant. The heart's electromagnetic field grows stronger. Intuition becomes constant guidance. Sleep deepens. Synchronicities multiply. Even the face softens. The tension of resistance dissolves from the muscles. You become visibly different. Calm eyes, grounded voice, steady presence. You are no longer chasing light. You are emitting it. The end of seeking before. You sought knowledge, books, methods, signs. Now you understand that all wisdom was encoded in your own being. The teacher was never outside you. The books, the mentors, the rituals, they were mirrors, reflecting what you already were. When you stop seeking, the mind finally rests. And in that stillness, you realize something extraordinary. The one who was searching for enlightenment and the one who is already enlightened were never two. The rhythm of the inverted life. You live now like the tide, active, then still. You act with full power when the moment calls, and rest completely when it doesn't. You understand that both are sacred expressions of the same intelligence. You no longer measure life in goals, but in states of coherence. If peace is present, everything is progressing, even if the world sees no movement. Your rhythm is divine timing itself, the effortless creator. To the outside observer, your life looks miraculous. Things just happen for you. But you know there is no just. There is precise, invisible alignment. Every inspired action, every coincidence, every effortless opportunity, all of it is the choreography of your surrendered heart. You are no longer the one rowing. You are the river flowing, living between worlds. The master of inversion lives with one foot in the material and one in the unseen. You answer emails, pay bills, raise children, yet every act is infused with presence. You see the divine in the ordinary, the sacred in every breath, the lesson in every shadow. Life stops being divided between spiritual and mundane. There is only consciousness, expressing through form. You are awake inside the dream, lucid, calm, unafraid, the silent certainty. True mastery is quiet. You don't need to declare power. You emanate it. Your certainty is not arrogance, it's peace. When challenges arise, you do not panic. You simply observe, breathe, and allow the higher intelligence to reorganize reality. You know everything is always recalibrating toward balance. This silent certainty is the vibration the universe recognizes most clearly. It tells the field, this one remembers who they are, and everything begins to rearrange in their favor, living as the law. At this point, you no longer study the law of reversal. You are it. You live beyond effort. Your natural state is ease. You live beyond asking. Your existence is a decree. You live beyond waiting. You are the moment fulfilled. You have become the bridge between intention and manifestation, heaven and earth, spirit and form. You are the living proof that struggle was never necessary. Only awareness was missing. The final paradox of this journey is simple. When you stop trying to be powerful, you remember that you already are, the dance of infinity. The inverted life is not static perfection. It is dynamic grace. There will still be contrast, but you no longer call it problem. You call it polarity, the necessary movement of energy that keeps creation alive. You flow with both shadow and light, both silence and sound. You don't cling to the highs or fear the lows. You let all experiences pass through you, knowing that consciousness cannot be harmed by what it observes. That is ultimate freedom the infinite return. And now you stand where you began, breathing, aware, alive. But everything has changed. The struggle has ended, not because you won the battle, but because you stopped fighting. You realize that manifestation was never about effort. It was about remembrance. The door you were pushing against all your life was never locked. It simply opened inward. You turn the handle gently and step through. Inside, everything flows. Everything listens. Everything responds to your state of being. You are home in the rhythm of creation itself. This is living the inversion, the end of resistance, the beginning of grace, the merging of human and divine. You are no longer becoming. You are. And in that being, the universe bows, because it finally recognizes itself in you. Conclusion: the return to effortlessness. You began this journey believing that power was something you had to earn, something distant, hidden behind walls of struggle, sacrifice, and control. You were taught that success required force, that fulfillment demanded exhaustion, and that rest was weakness. But now you know the great secret. The universe never required your effort, only your alignment. The end of the war. Within all the years you spent fighting, against circumstances, against fear, against yourself, were never battles with reality. They were battles with your own resistance. The world was never the enemy. Your effort was. The war ends when you realize there is no external gatekeeper, no test to pass, no cosmic debt to pay. There is only one law that governs all creation. You receive in exact proportion to the vibration you maintain. You do not earn abundance. You embody it. You do not attract love. You remember that you are it. You do not find purpose. You become available to it. Peace is not the prize at the end of the road. It's the ground beneath your feet, revealed the moment you stop running. The great inversion. The law of reversal taught you that everything society glorified was upside down. Effort creates resistance. Struggle delays success. Wanting reinforces lack. Asking affirms separation. Trying creates counterforce. And yet, in the inversion, you discovered that surrender is power, silence is action, and allowing is creation. This is not passive philosophy. It is the hidden engine of the universe itself. Galaxies expand without strain. Rivers flow without planning. Flowers bloom without effort. You were designed to live the same way. The true meaning of flow. Flow is not doing nothing. It is doing only what is aligned. It is not idleness, but precision. It is not laziness, but wisdom. The intelligence to move when moved and to rest when not. In flow, time bends. Results multiply. One decision, taken in total alignment, replaces months of frantic work. You realize that your value never came from how hard you tried, but from how clearly you vibrate, from manifestation to communion. At the beginning, you sought to manifest, to bring your desires into form. But the more you aligned, the more you saw that manifestation was never a one-way process. You are not a human requesting favors from a distant universe. You are the universe, expressing through a human form. You are both the prayer and the answer. The quantum field does not grant wishes. It reflects consciousness. When you live in coherence, gratitude, certainty, joy, reality rearranges itself to match you instantly. The more you live in awareness, the less you create. You simply witness creation happening through you. This is the end of effort and the beginning of communion, the return of grace. Grace is not something the universe gives. It is something that naturally flows through an open channel. When you stop clenching, it pours. When you stop fearing, it sings. When you stop demanding, it delivers. The miracles that once shocked you now feel natural. The synchronicities that once seemed rare become daily occurrences. You have stepped into the rhythm that was always trying to find you. Grace follows those who stop chasing, living as a field of light. As you walk through the world now, you notice something subtle but profound. People relax in your presence. They speak more slowly. They breathe more deeply. They feel safer. It is not because you have changed what you say. It's because you've changed what you are. Your vibration has become medicine. You are not teaching. You are transmitting. You are not convincing. You are radiating. This is how the awakened serve, not by effort, but by frequency. The cycles of the infinite. You will still have contrasts, challenges, even pain. But you will no longer call them problems. You will call them recalibrations, opportunities for deeper alignment. You now understand that every obstacle carries encoded wisdom. You do not resist it. You read it. You let it refine you. In this way, even struggle becomes sacred. Life ceases to be a sequence of tests. It becomes a dance of energy, ebb and flow, inhale and exhale, contraction and expansion, all serving the rhythm of your evolution. The final shift. At the deepest level, nothing new has been added to you. You have not become someone else. You have remembered what was always there, the effortless intelligence that animates everything. The inversion was never about learning new rules. It was about undoing false ones. You have peeled away layers of programming, fear, and inherited belief, and beneath it all, found pure being. Silent, certain, radiant. That being does not need to manifest. It simply expresses. It does not need to prove. It simply exists. It does not need to win. It has already arrived. The new question. You no longer ask, how can I make this happen? You ask, how can I allow this to unfold with grace? This question opens every door inwardly and outwardly. It keeps you humble enough to listen and powerful enough to move when the moment calls. Every breath, every glance, every thought becomes a portal back to flow. The eternal invitation. As you step out into your day, remember, there is no finish line. There is only the eternal unfolding of awareness through form. Life will keep inviting you to return, to pause, breathe, soften, trust. Each time you accept that invitation, you step deeper into the river of effortless power. You are no longer the rower nor the current. You are the water itself. You do not strive to reach the ocean. You are the ocean, flowing as a wave for a while. When this realization settles into your bones, you understand that enlightenment was never about escaping life, but about living it fully awake. The final word. You are the door that opens inward. You are the field that reflects itself. You are the stillness inside motion, the silence behind creation, the peace that never leaves. The struggle is over. The river knows the way, and you, finally, trust its flow. If this audiobook gave you even one moment of clarity, share it with someone who might need the same pause. And subscribe, so next time, calm finds you first.